Welcome to another episode of Going with the Flow. I'm your host, Lucas Salino, and today I am joined by Chris Wagner.
Good morning. How
Chris,
are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Excellent.
Great. Well, I look forward to this, but Chris, let's start off. What is your role at Salino?
I am a project manager and consultant with the company.
I like that.
For the HVAC. HVAC.
Certainly. Well, what does a project manager and consultant do?
We have appointments with our customers, and we show up and we go over what the customer's requesting. You know, heating, cooling solutions, indoor air quality, generators, and we go through the home. We assess everything. We come up with some ideas, go back and forth with the homeowner, and we come up with a plan.
No, I like that. And I like the word consultant because it's, sometimes the customer doesn't always know what they want. Mm-hmm. They're not always aware of all the different, rebates or the NYSERDA credits. So going in with that thought, like, we want to help the customer, we want to help them get what they want out of it, but there might be another way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, just being a good friend with good advice. That's ultimately what our goal is. Just give the best advice and try to give them the best price for what they're looking for.
Yeah, no, and as a project manager, I always say, like, you're doing the sales, right? So I've been a big believer that I always want a salesman that's not going to.
Oh, yeah.
So to me, it's got to be people that we trust. So we have a good group there, and you're certainly one of them that I would trust going to my grandma's house and giving her the right solution for sure. So Chris, let's dive into some of the products, I guess. What would you say are most of the estimates that you're going to? What would be like the most common product that you're offering?
A lot of ductless products. That technology has just come full front. Even ahead of furnaces and boilers, ductless is the number one requested systems right now, I believe. And there's so many different variations, and they're so adaptable and changeable where you could just pretty much design a custom system for every home.
Yeah, no, I use the analogy a lot, like, the cordless drills, right? I remember back the olden days when, Ryobi had them and, they weren't that powerful. It's like you need the corded drill to really go through something, but you got the cordless one, which is big and bulky. And you just look at the technology of that and going brushless and how much more power they have. Electric power has come a long way, and you certainly see it with the heat pumps and those.
For sure. And they have different products that can adapt to different environments in the home. Either recessed ceiling mount units to floor units to high wall units to even ducted systems that connect to these heat pumps.
Yeah, no, certainly. Now, before we dive into other products, I do want to kind of go through your histories. You've been around the industry for a while. How long have you been at Salino? 2-3 years?
It's going on 2+ years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you've been in the industry how long?
Over 25.
So it's a long time.
Yeah, and that's what the gray hair is for.
Sure. Well, that's I've only been alive 33 years, so you've been doing this most of the time that I've been alive. So feel free to take over this conversation wherever need be.
Yeah, I did the journey early on in my early 20s. A friend called me up one day and he's like, "Do you want to help me install a boiler?" I'm like, "What's a boiler? What is a boiler?" I have no idea. And it was for Gold's Gym, and old school gym that was here in Buffalo a long time ago. And I walked down in the basement. I'm like, "What is this thing?"
It's big, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Probably heavy.
Yeah, and it was just the two of us. And he was on the phone all day because he was in his early 20s too. I think I was 21 at the time. And he's on the phone all day getting advice. And because he really didn't, he learned from his dad who had a company, and he just struck out on his own as a young man. And we made it happen. The spark ignited a flame, and, here I am today. And I've been through every different position throughout this industry, from customer service to dispatch to installation manager. And I like being a consultant, to be honest with you. I think that's what I was meant to do and meant to be.
So over these 25 years, how have you seen the industry change?
Technology is just jumping leaps and bounds and just improving. When I started, we were doing air conditioners for like $2,500. That's how much the prices have changed as well, and the environment. It's just a drastic difference from your 40-year-old, 50-year-old system in your home to what is available now. It's just life-changing, I believe.
Certainly coming from the plumbing world, like, toilets, they've used less water now, but there's not that much different in the plumbing world. But the HVAC world, it is insane how much it's changed.
I just love how it's just constantly evolving.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if we're living on Mars, we're still going to have an HVAC guy and a plumbing guy.
Yeah, well, that and HVAC is more than just heating and cooling. Air quality is a big piece of that. And I know you're an air quality expert. So why don't you tell us what air quality is? Why don't we start there?
I'll put it to you this way. Most people's vacuums in their home have better filtration than their furnace's 1-inch filter. And usually when I say that to a client customer, their eyebrows raise and I see them start thinking about things. And they're like, yeah, you're right. My Shark vacuum has 3 different filters in it.
Well, they're building these houses tighter and tighter now too. So you get a newer house. I mean, they're made to be efficient. They're tight. There's not a lot of airflow going through it.
You have an artificial respirator attached to your home to change air out, because that's how important it is constantly moving air, constantly filtering air. And the more air you move, the more comfortable you are too. So integrating all that stuff, I believe filtration is super important. Filtration, but also sanitation, UV technology, stuff like that. It helps knock down your cold symptoms. It doesn't allow that circulation around your home. You're sick less.
Well, we did see a big push during COVID of this too. That's where this stuff really shot up and became more and more popular.
That's where I'm going with this. You know, products like the UV sanitizers and germicidal bulbs and stuff like that. They're becoming very popular in the medical industry, you know, dentistry, and also residentially. You know, especially COVID, people wanted a safe environment. If I'm going to be locked up in my house, I want to be safe, and I want to protect myself from those invisible intruders, so to speak.
Well, you know, me being in the industry, I'm lucky enough to be around this and hear this. So I have water treatment in my house. I have air quality treatment in my house.
It's all important.
It is. It's one of those things where people don't think they need it. Do you actually need it? That's really up to the customer. I personally will not go without it now that I have it. I can go in a home and I can tell if it doesn't have the air quality, or if the water's not treated. It feels different to me.
Yeah, and these systems now, especially on your forced air systems, they're made to work with indoor air quality products, especially filtration. The blower motors sense that restriction, ramp up. It's an old myth that thicker filters are bad for furnaces, not for the new furnaces. They're made to work with those medias. You know, buying those expensive 1-inch filters, like the store-bought ones from the big box stores, those are actually more harmful than your thicker medias, because you're working with more surface area now.
Well, I have the UV air filtration filter. Why don't you just maybe briefly hit on how that works?
UV, and as far as the light shines, that's how far it has its capacity to knock down any organics, biologicals, you know, anything that's harmful to us. And the more you run your fan, the more you move air, the more impact it has on the home as far as being safer. It just does a really good job with cleaning things up, the things you don't see really, you know, germicidal bulbs, sanitizing bulbs, you know, some products even emit hydrogen peroxide, and it can kill 99.9% of viruses on surfaces. So that's how far this technology is going.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Yeah, very important.
So yeah, definitely want customers to understand this. And it's so hard because, you go in a house and there's about 1,000 different things that you could tell them. You don't want to overwhelm somebody. So what is your strategy when you go in a home and, they don't know about air quality, or, they don't know much about it, but they don't have heat? Like, how do you have all of these conversations with somebody?
Well, it's having your head on a swivel and noticing as you're walking through the home with the customer, and noticing things if they have spot humidifiers or spot air cleaners throughout the home. Those are indicators that they really want to address. They're addressing the indoor air quality issue within their home. And you can combine all those things into one on their system, and you don't have to have all these things all over the house, and you can make it just one uniform system.
Yes, not only are you a consultant or project manager, you're also like an investigator.
Yes, forensics. House. Yes, I do a lot of forensic investigations. I can tell the past work that's been done. It's kind of like with a hot water tank. You see how many couplings are on the pipe, and you can tell how many hot water tanks have been in the home. I get into the mind of the past companies and the past consultants and stuff like that, and like, what was their goal? What were they doing here? And what were they trying to achieve? Yeah. You really have to raise the bar as a consultant to educate that customer better than everybody else. You know, that's my intention. That's my goal walking in. is to be the best I can be for that customer and treat their home like my own, basically. What would I do if I lived here? There's so many products, like you said, out there. It's just trying to nail down what they're looking for and what they want, and then customize that system to what they really want out of it, and have an impact and a result.
Before we get off air quality, I want to make sure we hit duct cleaning a little bit here.
Super important.
A lot of people don't know that we do duct cleaning. I know you go out and you sell a lot of our duct cleanings for us. So why don't you give us the quick, high view of what duct cleaning is and why you should get it or why you shouldn't get it?
There's three main points. If you buy an older home that's had multiple homeowners and the home is 50, 70, 100 years old plus, I can tell if the ducts have been cleaned or not through looking at plugs and patches on the duct system. If I don't notice anything like that, they definitely do need it, because what's in your ductwork is a different environment. It's like outer space in that ductwork, because biologically speaking, just the content in there is pretty crazy once you get into it and what we extract out of those duct systems. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've seen some of the videos that we pulled back where it's incredible.
And that is what's recirculating around your home. That's what you're living in.
Yeah.
A couple houses we've been in, we've taken out 2-3 inches of debris in the return air ductwork because that's your unfiltered side of the airflow. So the return airs tend to be way dirtier than the supply airs. In the supply air side, we see a lot of building construction from when the house was built, sawdust and pieces of wood, drywall, where guys used to just sweep everything down the registers and...
Yeah, no, the carpenter wasn't the guy doing the ductwork, and they don't care on those new builds.
Standards are much higher now, even on the new build side where they don't allow anybody to do that anymore. But we've found some pretty interesting things inside ductwork, old toys, baseball cards. I'm still looking for that Honus Wagner or Babe Ruth card, but a lot of interesting things are in the ductwork, but getting the ductwork cleaned, especially if it's never been done, is super important.
Yeah.
Because
even if it's been done, like I have my 100-pound German Shepherd here who sheds a ton.
Yes.
That certainly would cause some issues in the ducts, right?
And where do the dogs and cats like to lay? Near the return airs, where everything's getting vacuumed into the system. Because that's where they sense the most air movement and that's where they're most comfortable. And it's just vacuuming all that stuff right into the ductwork. And that's a family with fur babies is one of the main reasons too of taking care of your duct systems, because of shedding and dander and stuff like that. Even us, we walk around and we can shed up to 3 million skin cells a day. That's not even including our hair. So that stuff gets vacuumed into your duct systems.
You've thrown a lot of science at me. I want to almost give you the title like biologist. I feel like you don't have the certifications or qualifications for that. But
I don't have the degrees for that, but it's through learning and educating myself over the years, and getting sales training and stuff like that. We do receive a lot of free training, which is really beneficial as a consultant. Because those big impactful things, those big factoids and the science behind it stick in your brain. Yeah.
Well, you hit on the free training and you hit on the free quality products. So I want to kind of tie these in, and you've kind of led the way for us on this. So, we were selling different products throughout the years, and then we found Train through you, and it's actually your cousin that's our sales rep there. So shout out to Jeff. And Train was great, but they came in, they really took a lot of time to make sure that we knew their product, understood how it worked, the quality of it. Ran into another issue of just not being able to get products, and you led us on to now Carrier. So we still, we're Train and a Carrier dealer, and
the two best.
Yeah, they've been both just over the top. I haven't seen anything like it, how much they come in and support us and make sure that we can, not only sell the right products, get products, and, just warranting them that we know about them.
Having local backing from the manufacturer is super important. So if we have an issue with a particular system, we can bring in a factory rep. They can assess the system, and that's what good manufacturers do. They back their product with a good contractor who's going to back their work. So collectively, and together we can pretty much handle anything and nail things down and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and I would say that's somewhere we do have a little bit of a leg up on the competition. Is we do have some scale, some buying power, and they definitely take care of us. I'm not saying they don't take care of the other guys, but it's just, to me, it's astonishing just what they do for us. I got this shirt on here that they just, we're down at Carrier at the facility, and they said, pick out something.
It's impressive.
I said, can I get one for everybody on the team? Not just even the HVAC guys, but everyone. They said, yeah, absolutely, without a question. And they sent in two zip-ups for everyone in the company.
Yeah.
It just,
I was thinking about wearing mine today, but I went to the old black, went with the reliable black. But
you look good in black, Chris. It works.
Thank you. It makes me look thinner, but